A major movie role can either cement an actor as a Hollywood star or a blockbuster bust. From Jack Black to Charlie Wright, whose character in Diary of a Wimpy Kid ended his career before it even began, here are 6 times a single movie determined an actor's future, starting with Rachel Zegler, who went from being a complete nobody to miraculously landing the iconic role of Snow White in Disney's live-action remake because of an audition she filmed in her bedroom. But what should have been a fairy tale opportunity to completely change her life forever quickly turned into a self-inflicted downfall. Even before the movie was released, people were already questioning Disney's decision to cast a Latina woman into a role historically described as having skin as white as snow. But things escalated when videos of Zegler criticizing the original Snow White story went viral.
The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird. So we didn't do that this time.
With her in another interview saying,
I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again. I watched it for the first time in probably 17 years.
Now, the internet exploded with outrage, and people calling her so fucking annoying, box office poison, and an ungrateful actor. Some fans even planned on boycotting any other project she's in, like the upcoming Hunger Games prequel. To make matters even worse, Rachel decided to involve politics into the mix by tweeting, "Always remember, free Palestine," seemingly randomly underneath an unrelated tweet. Then, immediately after the election of President Donald Trump, Rachel posted on her Instagram story saying, "May Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace." Obviously, this caused a lot of damage to the movie, given that she just alienated more than 50% of the audience, to which the producer's own son, Jonah Platt, would call her out publicly. Yeah, my dad, the producer of an enormous piece of Disney IP with hundreds of millions of dollars on the line, had to leave his family to fly across the country to reprimand his 20-year-old employee for dragging her personal politics into the middle of promoting the movie. Things got so messy that Disney had to hire a social media manager just to filter her posts. As a result of her actions, the Snow White movie suffered a catastrophic opening weekend at the box office, earning only $43 million domestically and $87.3 million globally. Now, this might sound like a lot, but when you compare it to the actual production cost of $250 million plus another $100 million in marketing costs, that's a $215 million loss, making Snow White one of the biggest box office bombs in Disney history. This whole series of disastrous events might be the undoing of Rachel Zegler's whole career, but because she's still so new to big screen acting, only time will tell. Meanwhile, Jake Lloyd was 9 years old when he became the face for a galaxy of hate and bullying at school. At such a young age, he played Anakin Skywalker in the movie Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. The movie was massively hyped as it was the first Star Wars movie in 16 years, and expectations were sky high. But when it was released, many fans were disappointed, especially the older ones who grew up with the original trilogy. And because Jake was front and center, all that disappointment fell on him. He's not a very good actor. He never should have been in that position in the first place.
Jake Lloyd, he was only 10 years old, that boy. I would never let my kids be in show business because it's going to be an endless life of rejection, ridicule.
This was right when online forums and fan communities were starting to come onto the internet and came to vent their frustrations before it would spiral into full-blown online bullying, memes, and harassment, to which Jake would later explain in an interview that other children were really mean to me. They would make the sound of the lightsaber every time they saw me. It was totally mad. What should have been a dream job turned into a never-ending nightmare, both on the internet and in real life. Sadly, the damage was done. A young boy's love for acting, along with a high-potential career, was crushed, and by 2001, Jake swore that he would never act again. Unfortunately, from this point on, his life would spiral out of control. He suffered from depression after his dad and sister's death, before running into legal trouble during a 2015 police chase, and was subsequently arrested. Now, not every actor's career is derailed. Sometimes an unexpected casting choice can start off with hate, but then actually take them to new heights, and that's what happened to the next actor. Jack Black is loved for his high-energy humor and unapologetic charm, building a career off of pretty much everything from music to movies and voice acting. But when the Minecraft movie trailer was released, people did not like the live-action adaptation, especially Jack's role, stating that Jack is one of the worst possible casting choices for the role. They put Jack Black in a blue shirt and said good enough. Jack Black's legendary line, "I
I'm Steve.
was perceived as so goofy and out of place that it turned into a meme overnight. So, although Jack's involvement in the movie started off with massive skepticism and meme-fueled mockery, people still wanted to watch it because of its fun, bad nature. Add the now iconic chicken jockey line that sparked a viral trend on TikTok, as well as the lava chicken song on top, and Jack Black's reputation took a complete 180. As usual, when a live-action movie trailer comes out featuring Jack Black, fans are quick to judge it negatively, but with a bit of warming up, people learn to not just love him once again, but also the movie too. And so while Jack Black's role boosted his already flourishing career, the next actor's role only left him in a rough patch. Jared Leto's career has always been about pushing boundaries through his music and acting. In 2016, when he was cast as the Joker in Suicide Squad, expectations skyrocketed, but this golden opportunity ended up rippling through his career for years to come, but not in a good way. To be cast as the Joker meant stepping into the shadow of Heath Ledger's legendary portrayal in The Dark Knight, but Leto's role as Joker was seen as loud, flashy, and controversial. When the movie was released, people started commenting, "Dude got a haircut and said, 'I'm the Joker. Bro just looks like today's rappers. He was trying to be too much of a gangster, but Joker is the unpredictable icon who makes gangsters piss their pants.'" The heavy makeup, tattoos, and metal jewelry were also distracting compared to the natural and realistic portrayal of Heath Ledger, but the final blow came when Joker debuted in 2019 starring Joaquin Phoenix, which overshadowed and left Leto's version in the dust. Although he continued to land roles in films like Blade Runner 2049 and Morbius, none had the cultural impact that Suicide Squad could have. And with all the criticism surrounding his role, it's clear that Jared as the Joker did not leave a mark in the industry as expected, and it certainly put a dent in his Hollywood reputation. Now, so far we've seen the ups and downs in the acting career of a single actor from a movie, but what if I told you there was one film that redefined the entire cast's careers? The legacy behind Ghostbusters is huge. It's one of those rare movies that played an iconic part in early pop culture, spawning various toys, video games, and multiple sequels and reboots. One such reboot was the Ghostbusters 2016, featuring Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, Kate McKinnon, Leslie Jones, and Neil Casey. Although Ghostbusters was a massive film, both in terms of hype and budget, it still faced intense backlash. The film's trailer received so many negative reactions that it became the 9th most disliked video in YouTube history. After watching the trailer, people swarmed the comment section saying, "This film will be a total failure." Although the criticism for the trailer was bad, nothing matched what one of the actors, Leslie Jones, faced after its release. She became the target of racist and sexist abuse on Twitter, leaving a major scar on her acting career. The film grossed $229 million worldwide against a $144 million production budget, making it a box office bomb with losses for the studio over $70 million. Sony said it needed at least $300 million to break even, and thus abandoned the plans for a sequel. With all the criticism surrounding the movie, there's no doubt that it has left a lasting mark on the cast's careers. Melissa McCarthy, once a comedy powerhouse, shifted toward more serious roles. Kristen Wiig stepped back from big studios, choosing smaller, quieter films, almost as if she wanted to distance herself from the chaos. Kate McKinnon kept her presence on SNL, but in movies, nothing hit quite the same. Leslie Jones, after facing brutal hate, focused on stand-up comedy and TV, where she had more creative control. And Neil Casey, the film's villain, slipped back behind the scenes, writing and playing smaller supporting roles. Ghostbusters altered the trajectory for many of them, forcing reinvention, shifts to smaller projects, or even a step away from the blockbuster spotlight altogether. And similar to the Ghostbusters disaster, the next actor's role in a specific movie led to something far more intense and threatening. The Diary of a Wimpy Kid franchise made a significant decision to change its aging cast for a younger one in its 4th movie, Diary of a Wimpy Kid: The Long Haul, and fans weren't pleased with them, especially one particular character, Roderick Heffley. Previously, Roderick was played by Devin Bostic, who was loved for his relatability and cool older brother vibe, setting the bar extremely high. But the new Roderick, played by Charlie Wright, received some brutal online harassment and a wave of memes that slammed Wright's portrayal, all because he wasn't their Roderick. When the trailer was dropped, frustrated fans called out Roderick being now a Japanese girl. He looks like he was raised by rats and adopted by a horse family. But the fury didn't stop at mere comments. Fans took their anger to the next level, creating Not My Roderick on Twitter, which quickly went viral, with hundreds of thousands of posts roasting the movie's new Roderick in every possible way. To make matters worse, people began launching petitions with nearly 21,000 signers demanding the return of the old Roderick. The hate was so unbearable that Charlie Wright himself only addressed the controversy a whopping 7 years after the movie's release.
A role that basically turned me into a living meme, something I'll probably have to live with for the rest of my life.
However, this was just the beginning of the trouble.
For the most part, I didn't really care about the memes as much. The random death threats were a little disturbing, and to have people saying that they wished I was dead just for doing my job and being in a movie was kind of crazy. I did go through a depressive episode for almost 3 years afterwards, and
The movie's failure at the box office didn't help either. It grossed only a worldwide total of $40 million, against a product budget of $22 million, making it the lowest grossing film of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series. It received just 4.3 stars on IMDb and only 19% on Rotten Tomatoes. With all the criticism surrounding the movie and its cast, the franchise decided to cancel 2 planned sequels.
so the other 2 films that were planned to go ahead after this one were canceled.
He did retry his luck at acting in some indie films and TV shows, but none of them gained significant traction. So what was supposed to become a career breakthrough only made him carry a baggage of missed opportunities. Now, if you'd like to support me, please hit the subscribe button and feel free to watch my newest upload here.